Yeah, somebody. The thing about Venmo is that people don't understand that all your business out on the Venmo streets.
You don't have to. I've never like been. I don't get that. Why do people make their Venmos public? It's absurd to me. It doesn't make sense.
Well, I think the default is public, and they just don't know how to make it private. So you go on like, well, first of all, I don't know why there's a timeline for Venmo in the first place, but like, there's definitely
Yeah,
always you hop on Venmo and it's like,
it's
somebody
ridiculous.
paid $80.
I don't care.
Reason shrooms, and it's like, let's not put that on the
Oh
Venmo.
man, we gotta stop following Pablo on Debatable Venmo account. Anyway, this is Debatable. Uh, we will have. This is what is this? The last episode? Second to last. Second to last episode of the solo Debatable before it merges with the great show that is the Domonique Foxworth show. So we're not going away. We're just getting stronger. That's David Dennis Jr. I'm Domonique Foxworth. David at some point will read to us the contents of the email that he got from Andre 3000, but that point is not right now.
I have it memorized.
Oh man, that's sad.
We get it tattooed on my back.
Speaking of someone who walks it out like crutches, Jonathan Taylor. The Colts couldn't find the deal they wanted for Jonathan Taylor. So where does that leave the Colts and their star running back?
Such a reach. Jonathan Taylor's not on crutches. He does not walk. He
Also,
runs. He's a running back.
Still not medically cleared.
Didn't he walk it out like an usher? Like, what are we doing here?
That is
like,
true.
What's going on?
I walk it out like an usher. If I say real talk, then I probably, or if you say real talk, I probably won't. Yeah, trust you like I don't trust Alabaster. Anyway, I don't even know what the question is anymore. Jonathan Taylor is where he is most useful, honestly. The Colts, we've talked about this before with Mina and Bill Barnwell. The Colts are probably the team with the young quarterback who is a dynamic athlete. The Colts is probably the team that could use Jonathan Taylor, but he really doesn't want to be there. And it doesn't seem like they really care to have him there. It appears that through the media, they're pretending like there's some sort of bidding war in order to like get Miami to up their offer, but nobody else can really figure out who this phantom team is that is also competing with them. So I'm not sure. The big question is whether they put him on PUP or not, because if they put him on physically unable to perform, then nobody can use him for 4 weeks, including them or any team they would trade him to.
Yeah, the pup thing seems like the actual story here. I mean, this is one of those just annoyingly silly occasions where a team like is bidding against itself and like into this sort of like circular thing with itself and the player, and there's nobody else really involved. Like this seems like a Colts versus Jonathan Taylor versus with nobody else in the story conversation. And I think the big thing is like if you have a quarterback that you think could be the franchise quarterback and you want to set him up for the best success possible, that's Jonathan Taylor's benefit right now. You know, like that's what he's there for. He's also going to help keep that quarterback healthy. And you know, like there's a value to that, but they're just acting like there's nothing there. And you're putting this guy, it's like I'm putting him on timeout for no reason. This is 4 weeks of pup, and just nothing that they're doing makes sense here.
Yeah, I mean, we assume for no reason. The question, I think this kind of hurts his trade value in some ways because he hasn't played since the ankle injury. He is on PUP, so he will be unavailable for 4 weeks. And I don't know why you wouldn't put him out there. If he's annoyed, then I mean, unfortunately, that's not how football works for Jonathan Taylor. I get the reason why you might want to stay on PUP, so maybe that's to his benefit. But honestly, like the Colts are not a competitor. They are a team that has cap space and is not pinching pennies in order to maximize their roster. They could sign him to a Derrick Henry type deal for a couple of years and move on. But it kind of feels like they don't want to be laughed at, which I don't think anybody would laugh at him. I mean, just to be clear, for people who don't follow this, professional football teams don't like to be the ones that pay running backs because the nerds have gotten a hold of all of them and taught them the very true thing that it's probably not smart to sign running backs to long-term contracts because you can find someone for much cheaper who brings similar value to your team. But if you are the Colts, you have a chance to make a run at a division and help your quarterback develop. I'm not sure why you wouldn't pay the lone guy on your offense that anybody else, or lone skill player on your offense that anybody else would want.
Yeah, I mean the running back contract thing seems to be an issue for like winners, right? Like when you're actually constructing a contending team, you don't want to put so much money on your running back. The Colts are not a winning team. Like you can pay like it's not like they're going to be building a roster through all this free agency. It's not like they have a bunch of studs in there that got contracts coming up. Like you are going to stink no matter what. And you're going to get good draft picks no matter what. You can pay this guy for 2 years and then when those draft picks that you're getting for the next few years, when their contracts is up, then you start having the conversation about what to do with a running back. But that's sort of immaterial right now.
I like the Dolphins are a team that's been realistically linked to them. Like I like having the conversation about them weighing their options more than it is about the Colts, because I think the Colts are making a mistake not helping Anthony Richardson, but there's nothing else to say about it after that. But the Dolphins, I do think most people believe that their championship window if Tua can get healthy. So this is where it gets kind of interesting. There's an all-in component to signing Jonathan Taylor. We're not sure if he's like requiring a contract, which then that changes some things because they got a bunch of other players, including Christian Wilkins and Waddle and Holland, a bunch of really talented players that signing Jonathan Taylor might make it more difficult to sign them also. So I mean, that is interesting to me. I tend to like the idea of going all in when you get a chance to go all in. And if you're close to a championship and you think that this player can put you over the top, then I'm fine with investing what you have to invest. And it may only be a second round pick. He may not require that contract, but I'm even fine with considering that contract in order to make your team or raise your odds of being a championship team.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing with the Dolphins is like so much of their future and their championship contention right now is about Tua, right? And so like how much do you want to go all in with a guy who you do not know what his career, like you do not know what his season's looking like? That's sort of the issue. Now, do you think that you have a good enough offense with the Jonathan Taylor, with all those guys there, that if even Tua's hurt, that you can still contend? I'm not sure, but it's not like you have a surefire quarterback that you want to go all in with. Like that's sort of the conundrum. I agree with you. The Dolphins part of this thing is the interesting part. The idea that the Colts are going to get a first round pick for Jonathan Taylor, that seems like that was never going to be the case, especially with the way running backs are. But if they get a second round pick, why don't you give it a shot? But if I'm the Dolphins, like, are you going to go all in when you don't know what you got with Tua? And technically, you have until October 31st to sort of
and they do have a running game, or at least what looks like the zone running scheme that is effective with, well, not almost anybody, because they really didn't get effective towards the end of that year. It's with a back that has good vision, which I guess that it's easier to find a back that has good vision than it is to find a back that makes your running game no matter what's in front of him. So Jonathan Taylor is a running back that I think can improve your running game. But I guess that's why we get back to this analytics conversation that is enlightening, but not always that fun. Like, how much is it worth to have a running back that may take your running game to A+ when you understand that the running backs that you have now probably can keep you around B? And is it worth the commitment going forward? And I think most people would say no, but especially at a position that is as fragile as running back is, and with a player like Jonathan Taylor, he's not old, but that man got years on his body from Wisconsin. Like they just handed it to him every play at Wisconsin, and then did the same thing in Indianapolis. So I get the argument both ways, but I'd like to see him in a good situation. Alabaster, what you got?
So for the Dolphins, isn't the Tua instability kind of more reason to go all in? Because we have heard from Tyreek Hill, he's going to retire in a couple years. If they lose Tua, they lose Tyreek. This entire iteration of the team becomes a teardown. So it's almost like now or never, while you think you could get a healthy season from Tua. There's almost no point of waiting, because if you wait, it's just going to be a teardown anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rebuilds are faster than most people think. So if they maintain this roster, I think finding a quarterback that's serviceable may not be as difficult as you think. That's one way to look at it, which I'm arguing against what my heart tells me. And what my heart tells me is you make rational decisions as much as you can, and then you got to go all in at some point. And they seem like they're at a point where you go all in.
Or you could use a third round pick and get Trey Lance and have him come there if something happens to Tua. Everybody's happy. With some Cowboys content in, maybe.
We didn't, though. We didn't. We didn't, because we're not talking about Cowboys. We're talking about Trey Lance, a quarterback who probably won't even dress for the Cowboys. Sadly.
All right, Alabaster. We said Cowboys thrice in the A block.
Yes.
Boom.
You are ESPNized.
Yes, indeed. We know how to do TV, baby.
Is that the ghost of Whitney Houston on your shirt?
It is Whitney Houston. It's not,
The other one looked like a ghost. I want
to
see
my love is your love.
Let me see the.
It's like a little collage thing. I don't know how cameras work. I don't know. I'm just making.
Lean the other way. Lean the other way.
Okay. Yeah. There we go. Good teamwork. There we go. There's a blue Whitney Houston. That's
All right, Alabaster.
This is good. This is good content. This is great content for the podcast, folks. I know you love the podcast.
More good content. I need to apologize. It was I quoted the Lil Wayne Drought 3 remix of Walk It Out. A huge mistake. My bad. Yes. So let's move on to the next topic.
Stop trying to maintain your credibility. Do the whole verse thing.
I have none. When have I ever had credibility?
I mean,
it's good to know that Alabaster was looking up "Walk It Out" lyrics while we were giving this hard-hitting football content. Thanks, bud.
I mean, you didn't. Do you really want me to drop the take that the Dolphins should really just be trying to trade for Kirk Cousins and just go win the Super Bowl?
That's a good take. It's a good take.
It's a good take.
Quality take. Quality take. I like that take. Let me hold it.
It's called multitasking, David. Next topic. So Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, and the aforementioned Anthony Richardson have all been named the starters for Week 1. Which rookie quarterback do you think has the best chance of succeeding early?
All right. You already know what I'm going to say. It's the quarterback that's in the best situation. And I don't know what quarterback that is. This is the hard part. Is before this season, I was like, you know what? It's Bryce Young. He's going to go, like, they traded up to get him. This is not a team that is as bad as a number 1 overall pick team normally is. They managed to manufacture a running game and an improved offensive line towards the end of last year. And now that offensive line looks terrible. And they don't have any weapons. They got an older Adam Thielen trying to reel in some passes. So it doesn't feel great. When you watch him play, I feel like he's good. Like, he seems to throw like with anticipation, and he seems to understand the offense. He has a coach in Frank Reich that we all believe understands offense pretty well, except for what he did in Indianapolis. But he did coach Nick Foles to a Super Bowl, which we give him the credit. Maybe we should be giving that to Doug Peterson. But I thought that situation was a lot better than it is now. But it's hard to look at Houston and say that situation is better. I guess I have to fall back on Anthony Richardson, because one thing that he has is superb athleticism in Shane Steichen, who managed to get the best out of, or managed to mold or help mold Jalen Hurts into an MVP caliber quarterback. And if he can do something similar with Anthony Richardson and his special athleticism, then I think it's him.
Yeah, the thing that was concerning about the preseason games is just how much these teams stink. Like, there's no, like, when I watch Kenny Pickett and I watch George Pickens out there, like, Kenny Pickett has somebody who, no matter how he plays, he's going to have somebody, to get the ball to. These players, these 3 guys do not have that. There were so many drop passes in just these 3 teams over the preseason. It was alarming. And all offensive lines did not look good at all. Anthony Richardson looked like he was in duress the whole time against that B squad with the Eagles. I mean, these guys look like it's just going to be them, which is sort of that, what you expect. I mean, I know the Panthers traded up, but they look bad in the preseason. I think long-term, I'm going to go with Bryce Young for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. They have right there who is going to be the quarterback whisperer of some sort. They have a division that is pretty, you can be competitive in there on any given year because there's not a lot there. And he just seems like the better quarterback. He just seems like the better quarterback in college. He seems like a good quarterback now. The one that's concerning me the most is Anthony Richardson. Like, that, I mean, that guy is inaccurate as hell a lot of times. He's extremely athletic. But my concern is that if you got him running around there with a bad offensive line, I don't know how long he's going to make it this rookie year. I don't know how long he's going to make it there. CJ Stroud, I don't believe in the Texans. I just do not believe in the Texans front office at all. I'm going Bryce Young.
Well, I mean, I think I want to piggyback with you on Bryce Young, but you said long term. The question is early, and I think
Mm,
Bryce Young also has Jim Caldwell, who is probably one of the best quarterback whisperers that we have in the
yeah.
NFL, given his track record. That speaks or that bodes well for him. However, I still go back to who has something or someone that they can rely on, and I look around, and I guess you can say Bryce Young has Caldwell. You look at Stroud, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You got nobody that can protect him, nobody that can catch, and we don't have evidence of like great coaching. We do understand that he's probably the best pure pocket passer of this
Mhm.
group,
Yeah.
but he still needs some help. And then you look at Anthony Richardson, and while he may not have a great playmaker, they do have a better offensive line, I would say,
Mhm.
and Shane Steichen, and also like a special trait. He has a special trait, and the reason why athletic quarterbacks are so revered is because the floor is high. What Justin Fields did last year was impressive. With very little help and without a developed passing attack, he made that team competitive. And so I think if the question is early, I might go long term with Bryce Young, but the question is who can succeed early. I think it might be the guy who is one or two best athletes on the field every time he gets out there.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess you know if Taylor comes back at week 5, that is pretty early for him to have a whole lot of help. I mean, he's going to immediately have the best
Yeah.
offensive weapon at his disposal than the other guys. But man, that I mean, he was just missing guys, man. Like there was just a lot of bad pass, a lot of bad decisions in there. And what you don't want is a guy with that team with nothing to really play for running as his first option. And a lot of that running that he was doing was because he had no choice. I'm concerned about that. I agree though. CJ Stroud's. I mean, he's throwing the ball up and down the field. But I mean, it's the Texans, man.
The answer is Jordan Love. We've decided that he's a rookie too.
Okay,
That's the
all right,
answer. We are going to
okay.
go ahead and deem him a rookie. It's his first time entering the season as a starter. Jordan Love is our answer. Mark it down, Alabaster.
Boom.
He's probably younger than
Or Trey,
Levis.
or Trey Lance. He plays for the Cowboys.
Trey Lance. Good job. Way to get him in.
Sweet contribution. All right. So Kyler Murray, he's also on the pup. Should the Cardinals play Kyler Murray this year at all?
I assume you're going to say no, David. What do you think?
I don't understand why you don't play the guy. Like this idea that the Cardinals are tanking for the Cardinals are going to lose. The Cardinals are going to lose all their games anyway. People, like you might as well have if you're really going to move on from Kyler Murray and you are determined to do that, at least raise his stock. During the season, like this, at least let him play amongst the worst team in football. At least let him do that.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a really sad organization, and I want to get to the tanking conversation as quickly as possible. I don't care whether they play Kyler or don't play Kyler. Like, I think if you're a healthy guy and you're the best player at your position, I think you obviously play them. Like, that's just what you do normally, unless there's some reason to protect him. If you don't rush him back because you're not competitive, like I understand that. But them releasing Colt McCoy, who I think was the best quarterback on the roster, them trading away Isaiah Simmons, who like isn't a world beater, but was a contributor. Like they seem to be telegraphing that they are giving up on the season. And, I hate that for a bunch of reasons. One, because it doesn't work in football, because we rarely see, if ever, just one player parachute in and solve a team. I can't think of a time where it's happened. The closest example we have of that is Cincinnati, I guess, but it's not like they were completely without talent. It's just someone just doesn't do that. So it doesn't work in football, is one reason not to do it. It's unfair to the players on your team who expect that you're going to surround them with the best talent and try your best to allow them to succeed. And it's not fair to the rest of the league that you guys are out here freeloading and you're going to make $1 billion or several $1 billion because everyone else is trying and you're putting a crap product out there and then you're rewarded for it by getting a high draft pick. I hate it. I hate it altogether, and I hope that they do lose all their games and get the number 1 overall pick. And Caleb Williams is like, no, I'm not coming to a trash organization that doesn't try to win. I'll go back to school, or you guys trade this pick because I need to get out of here.
So it's not just about tanking, though. It's about protecting Kyler Murray, the trade asset. His time there is clearly coming to an end. And don't you think there's a calculus here of he has never made it through a season healthy? What's the best way to rehab this guy's trade value? Play him, have him scramble around, make a ton of plays, or don't play him so this, Lilliputian quarterback doesn't add more miles and injuries to a body that's already taken a lot.
You don't have any trade value for him. No, everyone knows that you don't want him. You've already killed the value by telegraphing everyone that you're drafting a number 1, that you're trying to draft a new quarterback. It's pretty clear that Kyler Murray is not your guy. This organization drafted Rosen and they were out on him after a year, then drafted Kyler Murray and seem to be out on him already and are tanking to get Caleb Williams. I do not feel like I would be comfortable if I was Caleb Williams entrusting my future Hall of Fame potential career to an organization that seems this messy and daisical with the way that they manage and develop quarterbacks. There's nothing you can do right now to impact Kyler Murray's trade stock because everyone knows that you want to get rid of him. So put him out there and he plays great. That might raise the stock slightly, but not a whole bunch. You put him out there and he stinks, and I don't think it changes anything because people still remember there was a time when Kyler Murray was really good. To me, that's like secondary to the actual point, and the point is the Cardinals are acting like a garbage organization.
I want to go back to the Colt McCoy thing. This is really cutting Colt McCoy is really the best thing that ever happened to his legacy because it's suddenly like people acting like the Cardinals traded away prime Joe Montana because they're like, fair now point. Are they tanking because they got rid of Colt McCoy? They're never going to win a game now. Like, come on. Like every time I hear Colt McCoy news, I get surprised anew that Colt McCoy is in the league. Like they were going to lose 100% of their games anyway with Colt McCoy, and getting and cutting him and acting like this was the move that signaled they were tanking is absolutely hilarious to me.
Josh Dobbs and Clayton Tune. Colt McCoy not better than either one of them. Like, I don't know. It's frustrating me. I know it's all fun and everyone thinks this is how you maximize your chance of winning. 1, again, it doesn't work. And 2, like these guys this game is you're really reliant on a lot of people. In order for you to look good at quarterback, you need, as we just talked about, you need an offensive line. The topic before this, you need good receivers. The same is true if you're a linebacker. You need a good defensive line and cornerbacks. All that matters. And if you guys are like submarining the season, it's going to make me look worse than I am, and that's not fair to me. I don't know. I'm on reruns, but this is not fair and stupid, and I hate it. And what if everybody else was doing this? Like, it just...
Yeah. There's just something to me that's really icky about tanking in football. Like tanking in basketball is one thing. You go out and you lose by 30. You have it, and everybody shakes hands, and you go home. Like, you're getting hit in the head really, really hard for no reason. Like, there's no chance of you winning. You're just going out there, and the players are playing for contracts, doing that. They're giving their all, and they're getting hit really, really hard, and it hurts. And you're doing it for the service of nothing. You're doing it for the service of like losing, and like that feels really, really icky comparatively to other sports. And it feels like this is the argument for changing the draft system. Like you should not be able to tank in football. Yeah, just get rid of it. You should not be able to tank.
Abolish the draft. Yeah, I mean it's. I don't know. I guess I don't want to make it too serious, but it is. We are constantly reminded of how risky and dangerous this game is. So, purposely losing games and weakening your team. And last time I got up in arms about this, the Dolphins ended up winning more games than anybody expected. But it doesn't change the fact that the team, while the players and the coaches were doing the best, everyone else was trying to ruin the season, which to me feels absurd. Like, can anyone imagine going to work and have someone who is actively trying to make you suck at your job? Yeah. Just to me, it feels unfair and wrong. And somehow, because it's in sports and you're a fan of the team, people justify like, no, this is a good strategy. Hell out of here.
So hard pivot. Let's go to what are the chances here? We got a clip for you guys. What are the chances that Vince's quads cramped?
All right, play the video.
They didn't actually throw a lot of RPOs. No, they ran some because Navy never forced them to pull it and throw it. So I think they only completed like 3 RPO throws the whole time.
Oh, he got tased.
So, you all right, man? We had
Getting old
double
is
trouble
rough.
because you took off and I was muted, apparently. And there was like all the people at home are going like this, but I can't see any of them.
Well, I'll be
But,
honest. I got out of nowhere, 2 massive cramps in my quads.
I mean, I believe it. Well, let's be honest. Cramps as a result of you not having enough water, not being hydrated enough. I mean, no disrespect, Vince, but I feel like you don't have a problem with being fully hydrated. But that was a cramp response. As someone who's had plenty of cramps in their life, like that's a cramp response.
Now, I don't know if you know that the internet is making wild speculations.
I know.
That he accidentally dropped a deuced himself, and had to evacuate the premises after deucing the trousers. Which I don't have any self-deucing stories like that, so I don't know the proper reaction to that. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say that his quads cramp because he pooped himself so hard.
Well, I mean, that is actually, that's another response when you're dehydrated. That's like an escalated response. So, I mean, all of these things, he could have done both. I've seen the cramps jump on somebody before. It does look like that. I do remember in college we had O lineman who, again, much like Vince, looked like they retained a good amount of water. He was tired. He started faking cramps. The man was faking cramps. So it's possible that Vince is doing the same thing to get out of doing hundreds after practice. What's up?
Have you ever cramped podcasting?
No, but I have sleeping. So like, I don't know. It jumps on you sometimes. I don't know. It's not, you just want to do poopy jokes. And,
I know.
And Pablo's not here, so you have to play the role of poop joke maker.
Rest in peace, Pablo. Alabaster, have you cramped walking it out?
That's why I got the crutches.
All right, we can close it out with Alabaster doing the entire verse. Don't edit any words. I want all the words.
All the words. Give us all of
all the words. Give us all of them. No? Mm-mm.
Neighbor?
Nothing? Ninja? Oh, man. Full Force. Mickey Ficky. When I do curse replacements, it always makes me think of Full Force saying Mickey Ficky and House Party on TNT.